The magical town bustled with activity as Sabrina made her way through the cobblestone streets. The sun cast a warm glow, painting the buildings with hues of amber and gold. Adventurers and townsfolk moved about, their voices creating a harmonious backdrop to the vibrant scene. As she walked, Sabrina accidentally collided with a young woman carrying a basket of vibrant flowers. Petals tumbled from the basket, creating a colorful trail on the ground. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Sabrina exclaimed, immediately bending down to help pick up the fallen blossoms. The young woman chuckled, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "No harm done," she replied with a friendly grin. These petals were just eager to explore the town, it seems. Sabrina's cheeks warmed with a smile. "I can't believe I wasn't looking where I was going," she admitted, placing the flowers back in the basket. The woman extended her hand. "I'm Lily," she introduced herself. "I'm a florist here in town, and what is your name?" she asked. "Sabrina," she responded, shaking Lily's hand. "I'm an adventurer. Just got back from a quest, actually." Lily's eyes lit up with interest. "Oh, how exciting. You must have some amazing stories to share." As they chatted, Sabrina felt a sense of ease in Lily's presence. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and Sabrina found herself sharing tales of her adventures, the creatures she'd encountered, and the magical forest that had become her second home. "Your stories are absolutely fascinating," Lily commented, a genuine fascination in her voice. "It's like you're living in a different world." Sabrina chuckled. "It does feel that way sometimes." Before parting ways, Lily handed Sabrina a small bouquet of flowers. "Consider this a token of our encounter," she said, her voice soft and flirty. "May it bring you luck and brighten your journey." Touched by the gesture, Sabrina accepted the bouquet with a smile. "Thank you, Lily," she replied, her heart fluttering at the subtle flirtation. As they shared a moment of lingering gazes and unspoken understanding, Sabrina felt a connection that went beyond the words they exchanged. Lily's gesture had left an impression, and Sabrina knew she would carry the memory of their encounter with her as she ventured into the forest. With the bouquet in hand, Sabrina made her way to the edge of the magical forest. She took a moment to observe the transition from the bustling town to the serene wilderness. The sunlight filtered through the trees, casting dappled patterns on the ground. The forest beckoned her, and she stepped onto the well-trodden path that led deeper into its heart. As Sabrina continued her explorations of the magical forest, she couldn't ignore the ominous transformation around her. The once vibrant colors that had painted the landscape in a kaleidoscope of hues now seemed to fade into muted, desaturated shades. The vibrant tapestry of life was gradually being drained away, replaced by a haunting, muted panorama. An eerie silence had settled over the once thriving forest, a silence that hung heavy in the air. The harmonious melodies of the creatures had been replaced by a haunting stillness, broken only by the soft rustling of leaves and the distant whisper of a melancholic wind. The once bustling realm had become a shadow of its former self, as if the very essence of life had been tainted by a lingering darkness. As Sabrina ventured deeper into the dense foliage, every footfall seemed to echo with a sense of purpose. Her steps were cautious, her eyes scanning her surroundings for any signs of what had caused this transformation. Despite the unnerving stillness, an undercurrent of determination guided her through the gloom. Her heart quickened as she stumbled upon a small clearing, illuminated by an eerie, soft glow that seemed to emanate from the very ground itself. The gentle luminescence cast strange, shifting patterns upon the surrounding foliage, giving the impression of dancing shadows that defied explanation. In the heart of the clearing stood a figure, its form cloaked in a swirling miasma of darkness. The shadows clung to it like a shroud, obscuring its features and rendering its form indistinct. The very air seemed to quiver around the entity, as if it existed at the crossroads between reality and the ethereal. The dark entity exuded a malevolent aura, its presence casting an unsettling vibration that seemed to ripple through the air. Sabrina's breath caught in her throat as she locked eyes with it, a sense of foreboding crawling up her spine. The entity's gaze bore into her, a silent invitation laced with promises of forbidden knowledge and power, a sinister allure that seemed to resonate with the deepest corners of her mind. As the entity moved towards Sabrina with deliberate grace, its steps were measured, almost languid, like a predator stalking its prey. Each movement seemed to send ripples through the very air, an unsettling dance that sent shivers down her arms and raised goosebumps on her skin. And then, its voice slithered into her mind, a chilling whisper that carried a cacophony of emotions. Doubt, uncertainty, fear, they all mingled in the shadows of its words. The tendrils of darkness wrapped around her thoughts, probing her insecurities, exposing the raw underbelly of her fears and doubts. Sabrina's heart pounded as she fought to maintain her composure. The entity's words carried a weight that threatened to drag her into the abyss, to drown her in the very darkness it offered. It was as if her own fears and insecurities had been given voice, each whisper an echo of the doubts she had struggled to suppress. But she refused to surrender. With every ounce of strength she could muster, Sabrina drew upon the memories of her companions, the laughter shared, the challenges faced, and the trust earned. She remembered Celestria's luminescent presence, the guardian who had shown her the beauty of light and friendship in this world of shadows. As Sabrina's resolve solidified, she extended her hand toward the dark entity, a beacon of defiance amidst the encroaching darkness. I understand you, she thought, projecting empathy and understanding, her mind echoing with the memories of her journey, the bonds she had formed, and the very essence of who she was. The entity's form flickered, uncertainty mingling with its malevolence. It hesitated, caught between the seductive allure of its own darkness and the touch of empathy it had never known. Sabrina persisted, her determination unwavering. She reached out with a hand trembling from both fear and hope, offering a chance at connection. And in that single moment, the entity's dark fingers brushed against her palm. A flood of emotions, memories, and visions rushed into Sabrina's mind, a torrent of twisted desires and malevolent intentions. The entity's influence was overwhelming, an attempt to tear apart her sense of self and replace it with something darker. In the maelstrom of emotions, a vision began to take shape, a memory that had been buried deep within her. Sabrina was transported back to a time before she had arrived in this magical world, to a life she had long forgotten. She found herself standing before a coffin, her heart heavy with grief. Her mother, a figure of unwavering love and strength, lay within. Her once vibrant face now dark and lifeless, her eyes closed in eternal rest. Sabrina's tears fell freely as she stared down at her mother's lifeless form, a sense of loss that words cannot start to describe echoed through the depths of her being. Sabrina remembered the anguish of that moment, the weight of the shovel in her hand as she stood by the open grave, the pain that twisted within her as she tossed a single rose onto the coffin, the final farewell to a life that had shaped her own. The memory threatened to break her, the pain of loss tearing at her heart anew. The entity's whispers twisted the memory, magnifying the sorrow, amplifying the darkness within. It sought to exploit her deepest vulnerabilities, to shatter her resolve and drown her in the depths of despair. But amidst the torrent of emotions and memories, Sabrina found her anchor, a glimmer of light that pierced the darkness. She clung to the love and strength her mother had instilled in her, the very qualities that had brought her to this magical world. With a surge of magic that resonated with the memories of her mother's love, Sabrina fought back against the entity's intrusion. She held onto the image of her mother's smile, the warmth of her embrace, and the unbreakable bond they had shared. The entity's grip wavered, its influence weakening as Sabrina's own strength grew. She pushed back against the darkness, reclaiming her memories and her identity from its malevolent grasp. In the aftermath of the intense struggle, the entity's form shifted, its dark shroud dispersing to reveal a figure more subdued and vulnerable. Sabrina sensed its pain and isolation, realizing that its malevolence was a result of its own torment. Her heart swelled with a compassion she never thought possible. With a trembling hand, she offered it once more, a silent promise of solidarity and understanding. The entity hesitated, its dark brown eyes meeting hers with a mixture of trepidation and longing. It was a wounded creature, shackled by its own past and the darkness that had consumed it. As Sabrina's hand met the entity's, she felt a surge of connection and understanding that transcended words. Visions of its struggles, its pain, and its descent into darkness flooded her mind. She held its gaze, unafraid, and projected her thoughts of empathy and forgiveness. Slowly, the entity's resistance crumbled, its darkness yielding to the light of her compassion. It drew closer, its form trembling as if shedding a skin that had grown too tight. Sabrina watched as the shadows receded, revealing the entity's true nature beneath the malevolent exterior. It was a figure of sorrow, once consumed by darkness but now desperate for redemption. With a final, resolute touch, Sabrina's connection with the entity solidified. It was a pledge of unity, a promise to face the darkness within together. Guided by Seal's Tria and the power of their newfound bond, Sabrina and the entity embarked on a journey of healing and redemption. They ventured deeper into the forest, seeking to mend the wounds inflicted upon the magical realm. As they all walked side by side, Sabrina's heart swelled with a mix of emotions: compassion for the entity's past, determination to restore balance, and an unwavering belief in the power of light to triumph over darkness. And so, Sabrina's tale continued, a symphony of light and shadows, friendship and redemption. With Seal's Tria, the luminescent guardian, and the enigmatic entity as her companions, she faced the unknown with a fierce resolve, ready to shape her destiny and restore harmony to the enchanted realm.